Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The US government wants zero tariffs on all goods traded with India, barring agri-products. The Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal met his counterparts in Washington. Sources say India is unlikely to get any concessions from the US on the proposed reciprocal tariff scheduled to kick in from the 2nd of April. That's an exclusive.
But why can't Elon Musk be successful in this country?
Because we Indians are here. We are here. He cannot produce what Mahindra can do, what Tata can do. Not possible.
Elon Musk will not be successful in India, says Sajjan Jindal. Warns Tesla will not have an easy ride and cites competition from Tatas and Mahindras. Jindal is also tied up with MG Motors to manufacture electric and hybrid cars in India. That's an exclusive. General Motors, Ford and Stellantis get a one-month reprieve from Trump's tariffs on Mexico and Canada. The White House says the Trump administration took the decision after speaking to the companies. The U.S. is also considering exempting some agri-products from Canada and Mexico. Bulls continue to regain some lost ground as positive global cues lift sentiment. The Nifty hits the highest level in 2 weeks, reclaiming 22,500. The rupee weakens marginally against the US dollar after yesterday's rally. Crude oil prices hit a 3-year low, with Brent crude falling below the $70 mark. IndiGo spreads its wings, announces non-stop long-haul flights to Manchester and Amsterdam from July, aims to grab a higher share of the fast-growing international traffic from India. More than 30,000 taxpayers declare foreign assets worth 29,000 crore rupees, according to sources. The government had given time till December of 2024 for taxpayers to disclose foreign assets on a voluntary basis. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar discusses the India-UK trade deal and other issues with his British counterpart David Lammy in London. India condemns a security breach after pro-Khalistani protesters attempted to heckle Minister Jaishankar.
And most of our sons, our daughters are smarter than us. They have to be given the right direction by the parent.
I think the problem is with the parents in terms of giving them very easy way of enjoying wealth.
It is actually a responsibility of the previous generation to ensure that it's exciting enough for the next generation to come into the business.
Top industry leaders weigh in on the debate over next gen choosing to run family offices over wealth creation. A special conversation coming up. Well, let's start with the market action. As always, the bulls regaining some lost ground. Both the Sensex and the Nifty gained for the second day in a row. The Sensex added about 600 points. The Nifty crossing 22,400, closing about 200 points higher. The Nifty mid-cap index 180 points higher, and some reprieve coming in for the Nifty Bank as well. That's the highest level that we've seen for the Nifty in 2 weeks. The mid-caps and banks have also gained in trade. Today, the BSE-listed companies added 12 lakh crore rupees to market cap, and that is how the markets close for the day. Global cues are not looking good, though, for the Indian markets when we open for trade tomorrow, because stocks are declining across Europe and the US, and there's also a sell-off in the bond markets worldwide. Bond yields in Germany jumping to the highest level since the country's reunification 35 years ago. The European Central Bank has cut interest rates by 25 basis points, and this is expected to be the last rate cut in this cycle across the Atlantic. And jobs data from the US is showing a sharp rise in layoffs as Elon Musk's team began cutting US government workforce. According to a report, 1.7 lakh layoffs were announced just in the month of February. This is a 245% jump compared to January. More than one-third of the layoffs are on account of Elon Musk's efforts to reduce the federal workforce. That is the work that the Musk-led Doge is doing. In the money market, the Indian rupee weakened marginally against the dollar. The rupee has seen a big rally yesterday, gaining over 30 paise. Today, though, it lost about 16 paise. 87.11 is where it closed, and that's the bond market action for you. The RBI has, of course, announced measures worth $20 billion to shore up liquidity and stem the fall of the rupee. Lata's here with more on the impact of the RBI's recent measures and the sell-off in global bond markets, what it could mean for India. Lata.
Actually, there are too many moving parts actually in the currency market. The biggest bazooka is Europe deciding to spend. Ever since the European Commission was created, they had this big, strict 3% debt ceiling. Now they've broken out of it and said that countries will be allowed to extend, raise the limit by about 1% if it is for debt spending. Separately, they have also said, Germany has said that they're also going to increase their debt spending, and this has resulted in the euro strengthening a lot because that will mean so much of spending on, automobiles, warships, etc. And that strengthens the euro because funds flow into European stocks and the dollar weakens. So that's one story that's playing out. It was quite unexpected. And of course, the dollar also became a little weak on fears that this tariff on Canada and Mexico can first weaken the US itself. Now, separate from all this is what's happening in the rupee market. What the Reserve Bank has done is this another 10 billion of FX swaps. What does it basically mean? They announced one already and they did one on Feb 28. The RBI had sold a lot of dollars, but the actual selling was pushed forward because they sold forward dollars all through October, November, December. So they haven't accumulated some 80 billion of open positions. Now, 20 billion of that over last 2 months, on February 28th and today, they've pushed it 3 years forward. So that's sitting on the head that, the RBI will come in and supply these dollars. That is not there. It's less. But separately as well, what the move does of this FX swaps is it makes forward dollars cheaper. So hedging becomes cheaper. And the expectation on the part of bankers is that a lot of companies will now borrow ECBs because it becomes cheap to hedge them. And that will mean the capital account deficit that we are facing because of FPI capital outflows could get reduced because we will get debt flows. Incidentally, debt flows have been coming. The FPIs are selling equity. In debt, barring January, all other months, they were positive. Now there will be private, corporate debt also coming in. So that pressure on the dollar also goes down. Now, where does all this leave the rupee? Actually, it's still quite ranged. There are enough factors on both sides. Against the dollar and pro the rupee is the fact the dollar itself has weakened. It's now back to DXY is where it was before Trump was elected. Oil is cheaper. That's positive for the rupee. And exporters usually bring in money by March 31st for their own accounts. The Reserve Bank also will not want a very bad ending. That is pro-rupee. Now, anti, of course, is April 2nd is yet to come. And then FPIs have not stopped selling. So those negatives remain. But the mode in the market is that the worst is definitely over for the rupee, simply because now no one is that long dollar. That craze for a long dollar is completely gone out of the market. People won't take speculative positions.
All right, Lata, many thanks. Let's hope the worst is behind us as far as the rupee is concerned. In the commodities market, shares of oil marketing companies gaining in trade after prices of crude oil slipped to a 3-year low. Brent crude prices declined below $70 a barrel, extending losses of over 6% in the last 4 trading sessions. And in the gold market, the metal saw modest gains today, largely helped by the pullback in the US dollar. Gold prices also reached a near lifetime high in intraday trade on the MCX, marking the highest price that we've seen since the 24th of February. And in the crypto space, Bitcoin prices surging past $90,000, marking an increase of around 6% in the last 24 hours. Prices of Ethereum and Solana also up 6% each. The surge comes as US President Donald Trump has said he will host the crypto community at the White House on Friday. And staying with President Trump, he's decided to delay tariffs on some vehicles from Mexico and Canada by a month. This comes after the heads of General Motors, Ford and Stellantis urged the president to exempt vehicles that comply with the free trade agreement. That came into effect from the 2020. The White House has said that the 1-month reprieve was being given to ensure that these 3 automakers are not at an economic disadvantage. The Trump administration is also reportedly considering exempting some Canadian and Mexican agri imports from the high levy. And staying with Trump's tariffs, the administration also has a list of demands for India. They've sought a zero-tariff regime for almost all goods being traded with India, barring agri-products. The demand from the U.S. government comes close on the heels of Tesla gearing up to enter India. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal held high-level trade talks with his U.S. counterparts in D.C. Parikshit is standing by now with more. Parikshit, what are you hearing on this demand for zero tariffs from the U.S.?
India and US have initiated trade talks this week after threatening all nations, including India, with reciprocal tariffs starting the 2nd of April. The US government, as per our sources, wants 0-for-0 tariffs for all product lines except agriculture. This comes at a time when Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is in US for talks with USTR Jamieson Greer and US Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick. This is the first time that the two sides are formally initiating talks on the bilateral trade agreement that Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump have agreed to sign by September or October this year. Can India offer zero tariffs on all American goods coming into India, including Tesla? That remains to be seen. However, experts have been saying that India can offer zero for zero tariffs on 90% of industrial goods from the United States. Now, while India would like the reciprocal tariffs to be set aside, sources say that so far there is little likelihood of any carve-out for India. When it comes to automobiles, it is clear that Donald Trump wants American cars like Tesla and Harley-Davidson motorcycles to be sold in India tariff-free without having to set up manufacturing in the country. As far as Tesla's India entry goes, things seem to be moving quite fast, with Tesla taking a 4,000 square feet space in Maker's Max City Mall in BKC, Mumbai. They're going to pay over 36 lakh rupees per month in rent over 5 years, and the lease deed came into effect in February this year. Tesla has also taken some parking spots on rent to charge cars. The company has also taken a space on rent in Worldmark Mall in AeroCity, Delhi. The company has kick-started hirings for Pune and Mumbai, mainly for showroom-related roles. Let's see what happens before 2nd of April when US reciprocal tariffs kick in. Will Tesla succeed with its entry-level models in India, considering the price of Tesla's base model is $35,000 or 31 lakh rupees, and an average Indian car costs around $11,000 or rupees 10 lakhs. Now, with a 15% import duty, as stated in India's electric car manufacturing policy, the price of Tesla's car can go up to $40,000 or $42,000, which is 37 lakh rupees. The high cost is the reason why some believe Tesla may not be able to make a big impact in the Indian car market.
All right, Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. And staying with Tesla and its foray into India, JSW Chairman Sajjan Jindal exclusively told CNBC-TV18 that Elon Musk will not be successful in India and warned that Tesla will not have an easy ride. Speaking to me at the EY Entrepreneur Awards, Jindal said the market is dominated by domestic players, adding that Musk cannot do what Tata's and Mahindra can for the Indian market. Remember, Jindal is also tied up with MG Motors to manufacture electric and hybrid cars in India. Take a look.
I'm putting now my heart and soul in the auto business, and I'm 100% sure that it'll be a super successful. There's nothing can stop me from being successful.
Nothing can stop you.
Nothing can stop me from being successful. So I know Anish is here from Mahindra and Mahindra, but I know that it'll be a super success because this country needs a huge amount of autos, huge amount of good quality stuff.
It needs Elon Musk as well.
Elon Musk is not here. He is in the US.
But he's likely to come.
Yeah.
He's likely to come if the
He can't be successful in this country.
Why not? Why not? Why can't Elon Musk be successful in this country?
Because we Indians are here. We are here. He cannot produce what Mahindra can do, what Tata can do. Not possible. He can do under Trump's shadow. He can do in the US. He's super smart. There's no question about it. He's maverick. He's super smart. He's doing this spacecraft and stuff like that. He's done amazing. So I have nothing. I don't want to take anything from him in the sense that he's too smart. But to be successful in India is not an easy job. In bits and pieces, private investment is happening. I wouldn't say that private investment is not happening. If you were to look at what JSW is doing, we are really investing and investing like hell. So there are many groups which are investing. But across the board, I would say the investment, the numbers are not as much as it should be. But I think it's time that private sector.
Is it a confidence issue? Is it a capital issue?
It's more of a confidence issue. I don't think capital is there is any problem with the capital.
Well, Sajjan Jindal there on a whole host of issues. Well, February was a weak month for the auto sector. Data released by the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association showed that all segments registered negative growth on an annual basis. The two-wheeler segment witnessed a decline of 6%, three-wheelers slipping 2% on a year-on-year basis. The drop was largely led by inventory imbalances, aggressive pricing and weak consumer sentiment. Entry-level demand for passenger vehicles also remained weak during the month. Now, the competition to grab a higher share of India's fast-growing international traffic just got more intense. India's largest carrier, IndiGo, announced its debut in the long-haul market, starting with the UK and Netherlands. Madiha is standing by with more on IndiGo's aggressive international expansion plans. Madiha.
Well, it was being anticipated and speculated for very long, and the airline has finally made it official, announcing non-stop flights to Manchester and Amsterdam, IndiGo's first ever independent direct service on long-haul routes. If all goes well, these flights, thrice in a week, are expected to start from July 2025. Remember, IndiGo has traditionally been a strong domestic player, operating narrow-body Airbus A320 planes, which also flew to Middle East and Southeast Asian countries. The airline does have connectivity to Europe and United States, but that is through codeshare partnership with other airlines, where IndiGo will take passengers to a hub like Istanbul and from there to their final destinations with the foreign partner of the airline. But now Manchester and Amsterdam flights will be fully operated by the airline. About 2 years ago, IndiGo reshaped its strategy and started prioritizing international markets, and it started with the airline placing orders for 30 wide-body Airbus A350 planes. It also started a business class called IndiGo Stretch. Then earlier this year, IndiGo entered into a damp lease agreement with North Atlantic Airways for a Boeing 787-9 aircraft, which was inducted into operations on the 1st of March 2025 with flights from Delhi to Bangkok. Then the airline took 3 more 787 aircraft on lease, which are scheduled to join the fleet towards the second half of this year. The airline will have 6 wide-body planes, including the existing 2 777s, the Boeing 777s, taken on lease from Turkish Airlines. The Airbus A321 XLR and A350-900 aircraft that the airline had ordered will start arriving from 2027. Now remember, Air India too is expanding its global network, so India will soon have 2 players flying on the longer routes.
All right, Madhya, many thanks for joining us. Now, Britannia CEO Rajneet Kohli has resigned from the company to pursue external opportunities. The resignation will be effective from the 14th of March. This comes as the company continues to strengthen its leadership and strategic direction. Britannia has not yet announced plans for a successor. The sell-off in shares of Gensol Engineering continued today, with the stock hitting lower circuit again. The stock fell even as the management tried to deny any wrongdoing in response to rating agency ICRA's allegations of falsification of loan repayment documents. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Gensol's chairman Anmol Jaggi said the company is happy to share details of the debt repaid with stock exchanges, adding that promoters will buy company shares from the open market to regain trust. As per Jaggi, the company's debt obligation for the next 3 months stands at about 60 crore rupees. He's hopeful of paying that on time and getting a ratings upgrade.
I will go on the falsification of the document which is there. There has been zero wrongdoing as far as we are aware, and we will continue to work with high ethical standards. The committee has been formed so that this is independent and we can allege the allegation which has been made on us for document being wrongly provided, that can be independently verified. It is in the best corporate governance standards that independent committee does the audit of this rather than me or anybody else.
Well, that's Gensol Engineering clarifying on a report that's been put out by ICRA. Birla Opus Paints has opened its first experiential centre in Gurugram. The company aims to set up 10 more stores in the next few months across Mumbai, Bengaluru, Ahmedabad and 4 more cities. Abhimanyu spoke with the CEO of Birla Opus, Rakshit Hargave, on the growth blueprint.
Along with that, we will continue to set up more dealer franchises. I talked about this 10 company-owned cocoa stores. We are in line with our number of dealers that we had set for ourselves, the number of towns that we had set for ourselves for the first year. So from a KPI point of view, the first year will be more or less met.
That's Birla Opus. Now, over 30,000 Indian taxpayers have declared foreign assets worth more than 29,000 crore rupees. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the government received financial information from over 100 nations pertaining to foreign accounts in the form of interest and dividends earned. Sources also said that the number of taxpayers disclosing foreign assets on a voluntary basis has steadily grown to over 2.31 lakh taxpayers in assessment year 2024-25. Well, a break, but when we return, top industry leaders weigh in on the debate over next gen choosing to run family offices over family businesses. A special conversation coming up. President Trump has issued an ultimatum to Hamas after the White House held direct negotiations with the militant group. In a post on social media, Trump said, and I quote, "Release all of the hostages now, not later and immediately. Return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you," end of quote. Trump is also vowed to give Israel everything it needs to finish the job and warned the Hamas leadership to leave Gaza while they still have the chance. European leaders gathered for another round of talks on the war in Ukraine ahead of the summit in Brussels. French President Macron said that Europe needs to be ready in case the US does not take the bloc side in the Russia-Ukraine war, adding that France will consider protecting European allies with its nuclear arsenal. Meanwhile, Russia accused France of wanting the war to continue. The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected President Trump's directive freezing $2 billion in foreign aid. The decision reinstates a lower court order that requires the quick disbursement of $2 billion owed to contractors for already completed work. However, the ruling was not a unanimous one. 4 out of 9 judges dissented from the decision. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was heckled by pro-Khalistan protesters in London. Several people were seen holding flags protesting outside the Chatham House, where the minister held talks with his counterpart David Lammy. India's foreign ministry condemned these incidents and called in the UK's Deputy High Commissioner in New Delhi to lodge their protest. Despite the protest, Jaishankar continued his diplomatic engagement with UK Prime Minister Starmer and other senior leaders. The UK government has strongly condemned the incident and has said that they are fully committed to ensuring security of all diplomatic visitors. At least 15 people injured in South Korea after a pair of fighter jets accidentally dropped 8 bombs in a civilian village during a military exercise. South Korea's Air Force said that it was investigating the incident and have apologized for the damage. They added it would provide compensation to those affected. Family business versus family office. A big debate has been raging across corporate India after Uday Kotak and Harsh Goenka called out heirs of top business families for focusing on investments through family offices over wealth creation by setting up businesses. I spoke with Sajjan Jindal, Harsh Mariwala and Velayan Subhaiya on the next generation of business leaders and the road ahead.
Do you believe that the next generation is happy running family offices as opposed to running businesses? And is this a problem?
My son came back from Harvard and he wanted to start a venture fund. And he picked up one company in Bangalore and he said, I want to invest in this company which was making EV two-wheelers. And I told him, so I also said, okay, this is his first project. He wanted to, so he said that, Dad, why don't you come along with me? I said, okay, I'll come. Went to Bangalore, visited this factory, amazing plant, amazing product. And then I came back to Bombay in the aircraft. Parth asked me, what do you think about it? I said, not at all a good idea. Because I want you to work, I want you to make money and not use my money, what I have earned over the years, and then multiply that. That's not my idea. So, and then he changed. And then later on, I think Pavan Munjal invested in that company. What we were to invest, Pavan invested in that company. Harsh Goenka's son is smarter than Harsh Goenka, right? And he's really doing an extremely good job. So to say that and Uday's son, Jay, is extremely smart.
Yes.
And he's now working in the bank and doing extremely well. So the next generation, most of them are extremely smart, smarter than us. My son is smarter than me. And most of our sons, our daughters are smarter than us. They have to be given the right direction by the parent, that you need to invest, you need to work hard, you need to build yourself and not use your father's money. So that's my take.
And not use your father's. Yes, Mr. Mariwala.
So I think I would agree with what Sajjan is saying. I think the root cause is the children or the family, I think the family has to set the right example in terms of creating the right culture of talking about business, take them, even if they're young, take them to factories, market visits, expose them. And the whole aspiration of the younger generation is built by what the family talks about every day on a dinner table, even if they are young. I think the problem is with the parents in terms of giving them very easy way of enjoying wealth, not putting that kind of, I wouldn't call it pressure, but expectations from them. I think the learning is more at the elders rather than the youngsters. And you can't blame the youngsters. They have been brought up in a certain way, and they will behave in a certain way if they've been brought up in a certain way.
Velayan Subhaiya, as a fourth-generation entrepreneur, how do you have to weigh in on this debate?
No, I totally concur with both what Sajjan and Harsh said. First off, it is actually a responsibility of the previous generation to ensure that it's exciting enough for the next generation to come into the business, right? And they have to create an environment where part of it is excitement, but I also think it's responsibility, right? Because if you think of nation building who has a better platform than these kids, right? They, the parents have already done the hard work, or perhaps 3 generations have done the hard work. And then they have platform, they have network, they have access, right? They have capital, they have everything that entrepreneurs really struggle for. First generation entrepreneurs really struggle for. So they don't use that platform to go, I always say there's the 0 to 1s, right, that Shailendra funds, then there's the 1 to 10s that Shweta funds. And then, when you've already got this advantage, you're at 10. If you're not thinking of 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, then I think you're doing a massive disservice to the country, right?
Well, family office versus business. And you can catch that entire conversation at 9:30 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. But for now, from all of us here on the team, many thanks for watching. Do stay tuned. The news continues here on CNBC-TV18.